This podcast may contain adult language, adult situations, spoilers, and some brief nudity, so parental guidance is suggested.
We have such sights to show you.
After about 5 minutes of this movie, you're gonna wish you had 10 beers.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
So, what would you little maniacs like to do first?
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Oh, well. La-di-da, la-di-da, la-la, yeah.
Welcome back to the Cinema Recall Podcast. Hello and welcome to a special bonus episode of the Cinema Recall Podcast. I am the Vern. Thank you so much for listening. So this episode is a combination of two movies, Raw and The Neon Demon. And I want to pick two movies that are about body horror featuring women, because there is a new movie coming out to theaters this weekend called The Substance, starring Demi and Margaret Qualley. Dennis Quaid's in this one too. It's directed by the same girl who did Revenge, Qualley, Margaret. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce the name, but the two movies I'm discussing here, Raw and The Neon Demon, both feature women, and it has elements of body horror featuring women. So the first section is on The Neon Demon. This is the film directed by Nicholas Winding Refn and starring Elle Fanning and Keanu Reeves and Jenna Malone. And it's about this young girl who goes to, I think it is LA, to become a model, and then things go wrong for her. This section was recorded back in March of this year, and I was on the LAMBcast because it was my pick to win Movie of the Month over at the Lamb. And I was joined by some wonderful, great guests on this one, including host Richard Kirkham. And then we were joined by Matthew Simpson of Awesome Friday Podcast and James Wilson of Blogging by Cinema Light. And we had a fun time talking about The Neon Demon. And then after the break, I'm going to be playing for you a section from our podcast talking about Raw. And my guest for that episode was Matthew Stewart from the Simplistic Reviews podcast. Now, Raw is the debut feature from Julia Ducournau, who are going to get greater fame for her feature Titane, which won big at Cannes. And Raw tells a story about a young girl. She's a vegetarian, and she goes to this veterinarian school with her sister, and then other strange things happen with her body. And we had a fun time talking about that. So you're going to hear both our sections talk about both those movies, so hope you enjoy this. Now, over on our main page, I did post a quick preview episode of our time at Crypticon. Ashley and I attended Crypticon, and we did a fun episode, and I'm posting for you just a quick little snippet preview of that, so check that out. If you want the full episode, you have to become a Patreon member. Again, patreon.com/cinemarecallpod. But yeah, that's it right now. I do also have a new podcast over at Rabbit Hole Podcasts called The Rotten Truth, and that is a new monthly series where Jason Soto and I talk about movies that had a low score on Rotten Tomatoes, and then judge if that score is value or not. I mean, is it score fair? Is it not? Find out. Our first movie we talked about is Madam Web, so definitely check that out right there. Let's do this right now. I'm going to play a quick ad spot from another great podcast show, and I'm actually going to pick, whatever with Jason Soto, so enjoy that, and then we'll get to our thoughts on The Neon Demon. Enjoy, everybody. Thank you.
We got to take a short break, but Cinema Recall will be right back after these ad spots.
We are like the Maury Povich of podcasts. People come to this show because it's a train wreck.
I'm giving this podcast 3 stars. The host keeps yelling at me.
The people have clearly spoken. Check out Whatever with Jason Soto on Anchor, Apple, Google, wherever you get awesome podcasts, or you can go to the home location at rabbitholepodcast.com. Second thing I want to talk about is I want to talk about urination. I want to talk about peeing specifically.
See what happens when Jason throws out the segments. This is what we get instead.
The critics agree. The Neon Demon is Nicholas Winding Refn's best film to date.
Am I staring?
Elle Fanning delivers a superb central turn.
You know what my mother used to call me? Dangerous.
It's elegant, mesmerizing, and a masterpiece. The Los Angeles Times hails it's bewitching to behold. And Vanity Fair proclaims it's pure, insane delight.
I am dangerous.
The Neon Demon. Rated R. In theaters June 24th.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the LAMBcast. This is episode 725, and I'm your host, Richard Kirkham from Kirkham A Movie A Day. This week on the LAMBcast, we have the movie of the month, a stylish thriller from 2016, The Neon Demon. The film won the Movie of the Month poll over 3 other selections, and we've drawn a crowd of lambs anxious, or at least willing, to talk about the movie. First up, joining us, establishing himself as a regular member of the Movie of the Month panel, Matthew Simpson from the Awesome Friday podcast. Welcome in, Matthew.
Good morning. Thanks for having me again.
Next, I'm not sure he knew what he was getting into when he volunteered for the Movie of the Month before the movie had been selected, but he dutifully followed through regardless of what the choice was. From Blogging by Cinemalite, my old friend James Wilson.
Hello.
Glad to have you with us, James. And
Thank
finally,
you.
we have the champion of this month's film. I read his original review, and I'm not sure he knows exactly why he picked this movie and wants to talk about it. But we're going to make him lead the discussion anyway, because, damn it, this was his choice. From Cinema Recall, The Vern.
I have one question to ask you. Are you food or are you sex?
I'm not answering that question because this morning I'm not sure which I am. Well, this I keep wanting to put it in a different century.
It feels like it would be a different century, yes.
This
Totally.
2016 film from Nicholas Winding Refn. Well, how to describe it? Let me quote our guest host's own comment on it. I have a idea where to even begin.
Yes.
So, Vern, I'm going to turn it over to you and let you lead the discussion. And then afterwards, we do have an exit question that we're going to talk about ending first. Vern, take it away.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining me for this discussion of Nicholas Winding Refn's The Neon Demon, starring Elle Fanning and Carl Guzman, Jenna Malone, Abby Lee, Bella Heathcote, featured appearances from Christina Hendricks and Keanu Reeves. This 2016 movie chronicles the journeys and adventures of a young girl who goes to Los Angeles to become a model, and then she befriends a makeup artist played by Jenna Malone and a few other models, and everyone there is enamored with her, and she's like very shy and, you know, timid and unsure of herself. And then other things happen and some strangeness occurs. I'm trying to keep this part very spoiler free, but before we do get into our discussion about The Neon Demon, I just wanted to ask everyone's kind of opinion about Nicholas Winding Refn and the first movies they saw of his. I'll start with you, Matthew. I mean, what was the first movie you saw of Nicholas Winding Refn's, and what do you think of his style?
I'm pretty sure the first one of his that I ever saw was one of the Pusher films. But the first one I really latched onto was Drive. And I think that he has a very singular style that either 100% works or the opposite of that. You can never say his movies are boring or uninteresting, but I don't know. The dude makes vibes movies, and I don't. I either vibe with them really hard or I don't vibe with them at all. And I'll let you guess which one of those this one is.
That is a great thing about the vibe movies. Totally like that. You know, Richard, how about you?
Well, I think the vibe idea is a good one because I've only seen 2 of his movies, this one and Drive. And Drive I vibed with quite well. It felt to me very much like a 70s movie. It's a slow burn for the first 2/3, 3/4 of the movie, and then it kind of launches itself. And I don't mind that style at all. I enjoyed it. I think it's deliberately paced. Whether or not that works on this particular film is another question. I'm gonna hold back on it like Matthew and suggest that maybe there's a different vibe going on here. This was my first time seeing The Neon Demon, by the way, so it was something that when I saw it playing and when it came out and I saw what people were saying about it, I thought, yeah, I'm not quite in sync with what's going on here, so I think I'll wait. And your championing it kind of pushed me over the edge. Okay, I finally need to see it, and well, we'll talk about how it all goes. But those are the only two films I've seen from this director.
All right, I'll get to my thoughts too. And then I'm blanking on our other just names. James, that.
The first movie I saw of his was Drive, but it turns out I have seen something that he directed earlier. He had directed a couple of early Miss Marple TV shows for British TV, and the less said, the better.
All right. Now, all right. I think I had said everyone there. If I missed someone, apologize. The first movie I ever saw of his was Bronson, starring Tom Hardy, and that really got me interested in that filmmaker, mainly because of his use of songs. Then I saw the Drive movie and was really into that. Then he made a movie after that called Only God Forgives, also starring Ryan Gosling. And if you see Only God Forgives and The Neon Demon, they have a lot of similar styles to it. They almost seem like to be sister movies in a way of each other, just the way he uses the colors and the music, everything too. Yeah, I saw this movie in theaters, and I was absolutely kind of in love with this movie from the first frame. It almost feels like a modern giallo. It is like a techno version of All About Eve. It's just has like these wonderful. It's boy, what did we do with this one here? I do know that this project started because Nicholas Winding Refn has two teenage daughters who were going through puberty, and he notices that this society is a very sexualized society, and he wanted to make a movie that chronicles the girls growing up in society because he was worried about his teenage daughters going into the stuff here. And this movie has elements of like Argento and Kubrick and Lynch in there as well. I just find it to be, it's one of those movies that, yes, it's style over substance, but the style is absolutely just gorgeous, and I love that it is. And being the fact that it is about the fashion industry and model, which is very like superficial and always a style over substance category, I thought it just worked perfectly for this movie here. Just kind of get into people's thoughts just generally about the movie. I mean, from the opening frame, which kind of does sort of like foreshadows what happens in the end of the movie there. I just want to just get people's like general opinions about what they're watching. If I could like be in your homes with you watching this movie and watch your reactions to certain scenes, I would just be loving that. Richard, I'll start with you. What's your kind of general?
Well, I thank you for starting with me, because as you were talking about it, I thought immediately of what my impression of it was. There's a like you said, it is a very good-looking movie. The imagery is startling. It's the compositions of some of these sequences, especially the ones that are supposed to be modeling scenarios, I think are elegant and elaborate. It looks like a beautifully made 90-minute perfume commercial. And it really is, it stands out in a lot of ways. I love the dark elements with the neon colors that appear sometimes. I like the interesting contrasting images that get shown at times. But there's a quote in the movie at one point that I completely disagree with, and that's probably the way I fit into the way of looking at this movie. One of the photographers, one of the designers who chooses our lead actress as his runway model, has a conversation with her at one point, and he says, "Beauty is everything." And if you believe that beauty is everything, you're going to love this movie. I don't believe that. I think that beauty is great. It's important, and I don't want to discount it, but it's not everything. And as a consequence, I'm not really a big fan of this film. It's not that I was disappointed in it, but it's just not something that, like we talked about, vibes with me. I think it takes a long time getting to where it's going. there's a weird vibe, like we talked about throughout the whole movie, with the characters, even before things turn as dark as they do. I did get the sense ultimately that it was going to turn into kind of a horror picture, but it seemed like it was late in making the turn that it does, and that irritated me a little bit. And I just, we got to be careful about the spoiler thing. Let me just say that the fact that a person consuming an eyeball that has been vomited out by another person is not the most disgusting thing in the movie tells you that there are things about this that are a little bit problematic for a lot of people. And it was problematic for me. There's a sequence in here that I literally looked away from the screen and felt so uncomfortable about it, and it put me off of the film more than anything else. And you guys know what it is, so we'll just talk about that when we get there.
We'll get to that later, yes.
Yeah.
I understand completely. Gorgeous sequence right there. It's funny that you mentioned about like the colors and everything being shot well, because Nicholas Winding Refn himself is colorblind, so he's not able to.
Yeah, I thought that was an interesting little note.
I was kind of fun, and I wish we could have like a woman on this panel to discuss this movie, because this movie, even though he came up with even though Nicholas Winding Refn came up with a story for this, he did hire two women playwrights, to write the dialogue for the women in this, and he hired a female cinematographer to shoot it, and it does feature a mostly all female cast. And like I said before, he's a father of 2 teenage daughters, and he wanted to create a story just that he wanted to find the 16-year-old in him to write the story about. And I found that to be kind of fascinating as a guy who's a father, and also kind of fascinating too the fact that Elle Fanning went from 16 to 18 when making this movie. So she was kind of going through her own, premature. She's she's growing up, pubescent style right there. I'll go to you, Matthew. I'm going all over the place here, folks. I apologize. Let's talk to you about what did you think about the general style and the general thoughts about the movie when you're watching it. This is your first, yes.
So I did see this originally when it came out in 2016, and I rewatched it yesterday. And the best way to describe this movie would be that I can't tell if it's beautiful but also repulsive, or repulsive but also beautiful.
I love that.
Because it's definitely all of those things all at once. And I don't really vibe with it, but it's like a train wreck. I can't look away from it either because it's so strikingly and beautifully shot. I think that the sort of satire it's going for is too on the nose to work as satire, and too over the top to work as satire. It misses the balance. But again, it's so visually striking, it's hard to look away from. I was just looking over the notes I was taking while I was watching it yesterday, and they include such things as he put his initials in the title card, lol. Natasha Breyer should be working more. This is either entirely too on the nose or too far removed from actual human behavior to be relatable. Even the end credits are gorgeous. Why is there a Triforce? There's just so much going on in this movie visually that I can't quite put it together, but I find the actual content of the film pretty repulsive.
Okay, fair enough there. And then James, I hope I have this right there. What's your thoughts about the movie?
I despised this movie with the searing heat of 1,000 suns.
Right.
Gosh, where to even begin? It is rather lovingly shot. And I remember that in your thank you for sending your review of it when you had first seen it. I read it, and you said the two important things that were going through my head when I was watching it. One was style over substance, which I thought this was very much a product of. And the other thing was, you said that there are shots in this that you would like to hang on your wall. Mm-hmm. And my immediate response to that was, if that's what you have to say about a movie, then it should be a photograph rather than a movie, because things are supposed to happen in movies. The shots aren't there just to be shots. They're supposed to be relatable to each other, and they're supposed to actually have action that goes along with it. The other thing was the deliberate pace was maddening. The movie unfurls at the speed of pretension, where everything is so deliberate that you just become inured to the fact that nobody's really saying anything.
Nice demonstration.
I think that's
substance.
I think it's kind of like the point of the movie too, because these are all models and actors. They would appear like the better versions of themselves. Like, it almost feels like this is not our world. This is a completely different universe, almost like aliens trying to become human in a way. And I find that just to be absolutely fascinating. This has a lot of the same type of like line delivery as you would see in some Lynch movies. I mean, I'm watching Twin Peaks right now, and the way that characters interact with each other feels just very much like a soap opera. And I can kind of say the same thing about the acting in this. It feels like very over dramatic sometimes and very stilted. Like, everyone in this movie is sort of afraid to kind of show emotion in a way. The only character that does kind of show any like emotions is probably Keanu Reeves as the weird, creepy, almost like pedophile manager of the hotel room there. So yeah, I totally agree with everyone saying that this is a vibe movie. And I don't know, Richard, are you a fan of like Dazed and Confused? Because that's a vibe movie.
Yeah, Dazed and Confused I can relate to because I lived through that era. I mean, that's basically, that could have been me at any of those points. I wasn't, using pot and playing football, but everything else that was going on in that movie was something that I could relate to. It's hard to relate to anything in this movie because it is so stylized, and it's about a world that we don't really most of us are only vaguely familiar with, and especially, mostly we kind of see that stuff in TV shows and movies because we're not exposed to the real life thing. I mean, it's either this guy, the photographer and I don't remember the character's name, the one who smears the gold all over Jamie. Jack. Or, Austin Powers taking pictures. Those are the kinds of extreme versions of what we see of the fashion photography industry, and it just really seems like it's so and separate from everyday life, which is why I think the soap opera comparison is a little problematic. Look, one of the reasons soap operas can be so deliberate, it was because they were doing an hour every day, 5 days a week, and the show goes on for years and years and years. This is a 2-hour movie, and making it feel like it's going to go on for years and years and years, I think, is a little counterproductive.
And, it's important to note too, Richard, now, not all of us are models. Well, maybe Matthew is, but we're not all models right here. And we're also not women.
Right.
And so the experiences that the women go through with this is not something that we would ever go through at all. It's also kind of a story about maybe like the loss of innocence, because when Jessie, Elle Fanning's character, comes in, she's very like naive and doesn't really know a lot of things, although she says she does, but I think secretly she kind of does. And then as the movie progresses, she becomes a little bit more confident to the point where she does become narcissist. I mean, this movie is this movie, even the director says that this is about narcissism. He had a conversation with Elle Fanning before they shot this, and he says to her, "Do you think you're beautiful?" And she says, "Yes, I do." And he's like, "Yes, we're going to make a movie all about this, where narcissism is going to be the key thing here." And yeah, I don't know why I vibe with this, because I saw it in a theater, and I don't know, I like watching people get uncomfortable during movies. I went to see Blue is the Warmest Color with a bunch of like senior citizens, and watching that movie with them was great. And I had the same reaction, like that one sequence where you turn away from the camera, a lot of people got up and left the theater. So yeah, I totally get why people don't like this movie. I am just a big fan of the style of it, and if I think this movie probably would work better in an art museum. This is not going to be for everyone's taste, but I do agree that if you're a fan of like Suspiria, the original Argento Suspiria, maybe even like The Red Shoes or Umbrellas of Cherbourg, movies that have like a lot of like vibrant colors in there, I think you'll just really enjoy this. I get elements of like Kubrick and Godard in this movie as well. Yeah. What do you think about? I'll ask you, Matthew, because I said this was like sort of like a techno all about Eve. Do you agree with that?
I think a better comparison might be Mean Girls.
Okay. I think you're gonna say Showgirls, but
there's an in clique, and they're sort of roasting this new girl, and yeah, I think that's a better comparison. And it's like, you know, a neon drenched, blood soaked version of Mean Girls. But again, I would argue with less substance than Mean Girls, and trying to say something totally different than that movie ever did. I don't know. I'm having a hard time. I was looking forward to this episode because I was looking forward to talking through how I felt about it. But like, the more I talk about it, the more conflicted I get about it. So
well, this is exactly the kind of show that the Vern was looking for. Yes. One where we're all uncomfortable and conflicted and feeling awkward about expressing. Although James has no problem expressing himself on this one. I like that.
I do actually agree. I do kind of wish there was a woman here with us, because like I have just so many questions that I feel like I can't, and we probably can't answer. So
exactly.
But like, yeah, it's definitely like, I'm just gonna stick to my thesis. It's a vibes movie, and you're either gonna vibe with it or not. And,
with it,
and I don't.
That's fair. Now, okay, because you saw this in theaters too, right? Is that right, Matthew?
Yep, back when it was new.
Okay, because I saw this at like a pretty popular AMC theaters, and it was an opening weekend that I saw it, and there's a good group of people there. Did you get the vibe of people watching it, the movie? Like, did you watch people when you watch movies? Like, did you? Yeah,
I mean, I do. I usually sit a little bit further back because I'm pretty tall, and so I get a pretty good view of the people in front of me. And yeah, there's definitely, you can sort of tell. The main theater I go to is stadium seating, so it's quite like a steep incline, so it's hard to see like people's faces, but you can sort of tell when people are, much like I was both time I watched this, deeply uncomfortable, but also like completely like captured by the movie. Like, it's a very weird dichotomy in that it's like people were very clearly not necessarily enjoying what they were watching, but unable to look away in the moment, except for, I do remember at least one person just got up and left at a certain point. The first time I watched it.
That's probably Richard. No.
If I had been in a theater, I might have stepped out for a few minutes. I probably would have come back in after a while, because I hate the idea of walking out on a movie. But there's always a first time.
That's fair. Guys, there was a thought in my head, and I just kind of like lost it while you were talking about the movie you just watched it in theaters. Yes. So this movie came. So I know Drive was in theaters, and a lot of people saw Drive. Drive got a lot of like critical praise, and I think some audiences love that movie too. The next movie he made, Only God Forgives, wasn't released wide in theaters, so not many people saw that movie. And so he goes from Drive to the Neon Demon, and that's a big shift. Because if you watch Drive, you're thinking, oh, wow, I like Drive very much. Gotta be a lot of action in this. It does go slow, but there's some good action moments in this. And then you go from that to the Neon Demon. It's a complete different shift. I mean, they're both from the same director, and you can tell they're both from the same director. But being the fact that not a lot of people got to see Only God Forgives, and if you saw that, you can sort of just see the style elements in the Neon Demon as well. So I want to know if people didn't see Only God Forgives, that may hinder their enjoyment of the Neon Demon. Because I was not a fan of Only God Forgives, but Only God Forgives is really highly stylized, like even more so than this. But I think the stylization works because he's doing a message about the fashion industry and about the style surface. I mean, there's that moment too where Elle's talking to Carl Grossman's character, and she says, "I've got no real talent. I can't write. I can't act. I can't sing, but I am pretty, and I can make money at being pretty." And if you look at it now with the popularity of like TikTok and Instagram and everything like that, models making OnlyFans pages, and yeah, you can make money very much at being pretty. You don't really
as
need
long
to
as
have
you do
any
it by the
talent.
time you're 21.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Yes.
I would say that, like, I sort of get where you're trying to go with this, the comparison with Only God Forgives, but I might actually argue that if, and I think this is true of most people, if your introduction to Reppin was Drive, then I think maybe most of the rest of his films are going to feel a bit weird to you, because Drive is by far his most straightforward film.
Yes.
Like if you watch even just his English language output, like Bronson and Only God Forgives and this and Valhalla Rising are all super highly stylized, really weirdly experimental, big, like either super big or super subdued, but really intense performances. And all very much vibes movies. And whereas Drive can be pretty much sat through like a fairly like elevated, but still a fairly straightforward action movie. And I feel like, probably speaking, a lot of people were off-put by, if they started with Drive, they're going to be put off by almost anything else they watch of his, at least in English.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, yeah.
I do want to talk a little bit about. Oh, great. Sorry.
I was going to say, I did see Only God Forgives in cinemas, and I do distinctly remember being like, oh, like, I had seen Bronson before I saw Drive, so I was a little more prepared than my friend who hadn't. But like,
sure.
Yeah, I was definitely able to see in real time to like, oh, that was Drive was the outlier, not the standard, you know.
Yeah, that's fair. I do want to know, and I'm going to talk to you, James, because I thank you so much for watching something that you didn't quite enjoy and being on here to discuss your feelings about it. I want to ask you a little bit about the actors in this and kind of get your thoughts about them as general. But I want to talk to you a little bit about like Elle Fanning's character and Keanu Reeves. Did you have any character in this or any actor you liked in this? You don't have to like their character, but did you like anyone's acting in this?
Not particularly. Jenna Malone probably had the most to do as far as, you know, having a thought in their head besides themselves. Keanu Reeves came in, and that was a surprise, but this is one of those bad Keanu Reeves performances where he should just stand there, look pretty, and not talk. And the Bella Heathcote and I can't remember the name of the other actress's name. Abby Lee. They were just, you know, they were doing their a basic, Dracula's succubus performance.
in a way, those were supposed to be the three sort of like sisters in Macbeth, who sort of like I guess tell our lead character what's gonna happen to them. Especially in that sequence where they're at the nightclub and they say to her, "Are you food or are you sex?" And even when the character says the names of lipsticks and one of them mentions red rum, which is shout out to the Shining. So in the beginning scenes, even the beginning opening shot, it does sort of like a preview of what's going to happen down the line with them. There's even a sequence in the middle of the movie where they're not quite sure about what to eat before they mention Jesse's name, and we'll get into that little spoiler later on there.
I think you're giving that movie too much credit here.
I do that a lot of times, okay? So, yes. I don't know if we have any more to say about our general thoughts of this. I feel like I'm the only one in this movie, this whole group here, that loves this movie. Like, I get what you're saying about it's too highly stylized, it's beautiful shots, but I just can't get into the storyline of it. Completely understand that. I'm still kind of surprised because I submitted Neon Demon multiple times to win Movie of the Month, and I'm very kind of surprised that it won. I really thought the Drop Dead Fred was going to win, but that's another highly stylized movie that I do enjoy very much. Don't know. Okay, so I mentioned. I like Keanu Reeves' character because he's playing something different that he has played before. And I like when he plays the bad guy. He was the bad guy in that movie The Gift with Cate Blanchett. And I love his being a complete jerk. And the fact that he is very creepy and, he does, I can get into this a little bit there. He does go into Jesse's room, puts a knife in her throat, and says, wider. Fun fact, he was really nervous about shooting that scene, and Elle Fanning on the commentary said that was a fun time.
Yeah, I don't understand why that whole sequence exists. In fact, I'm not sure why Keanu Reeves is in the movie, except to suggest that, it's not just the fashion model industry that is full of creeps, that they're everywhere, including at the local motel, which I don't think would surprise anybody.
And that was sort of like a dream sequence, because doesn't she like kind of wake up from that?
Yeah.
But then she does, see or hear someone trying to break into her room, and he can't get in, so he goes to the next girl's house. And there was a scene earlier where he's talking to her boyfriend Dean and says, "Gotta check out room 214. I went to this young girl, 13 years old, real Lolita shit. Room 214, gotta be seen." And he does break into the room, and we don't see anything. We just hear him basically rape and murder this young girl. And
at least that's what our assumption is. And but like most people who have no human emotions or reactions, Jesse basically just leaves and doesn't really follow through on anything that might be going on in the very next room. It's just, I got to run away. I got to get away from this, as opposed to earlier she had suggested calling the police, when there was something in her room, and Hank, the motel manager, doesn't want that happening at all. Why she doesn't have that instinct here is not clear to me at all. And like I said, the very existence of these characters in the motel seems just to be an attempt to tie the creepiness of the world into something that is more real, that we can relate to, or that most of us can relate to. I mean, I've stayed in some creepy places, and I've encountered people that are just a little bit weird, but I've never, stood in front of a bunch of people naked and had gold paint rubbed all over me. So, that part would be a little bit harder for me to relate to. But that there's something creepy going on next door in the motel room, or that the people who are running the motel are a little sketchy, that is completely normal. By the way, I lived in that area, and I drove past that motel 100 times in my life. It's on Colorado Boulevard in Pasadena.
But here's the thing too, when she does have, so in the movie there is a leopard that shows up in a room.
Well, it's a mountain lion in her room. It's a leopard that's stuffed in the later sequence in the house that she goes into.
Okay, mountain lion, but that was before she made her metamorphosis into the neon demon, the model's kind of like monster, the narcissist version of Jessie. So when she does see that woman being attached, she just like, you know what, I just need to get out of this. I'm thinking only about myself.
Right.
Because
okay, I can see that.
She's just thinking about just herself, and she just wants to protect her own image and her likeness and all that.
Well, her monologue on the diving board is the perfect epitome of that narcissistic character arc that she goes through. You know, at the beginning, she's clearly a character that changes in the course of the film. I'm not sure anybody else changes. They're all the same at the end of the film that they were at the beginning of the film. She's the one who changes. She goes from somebody who has some moral qualms about telling the truth to somebody who is willing to, like you say, ignore a crime that's going on next door and just pay attention to herself and be so self-centered that she, you know, basically acknowledges how her beauty is unique, and that's the most important characteristic, and nobody else can have it. And it's just
the only character that you thought you have some sympathy for is Jenna Malone's character, and even to a certain point, Carl Grossman's character, who I've only seen in Gaspar Noé's Love before this. And even the commentary track, he was saying, Nicholas Winding Refn was saying that, and this is Carl Grossman, and he's appearing in clothes for the first time ever, because his last movie was Gaspar Noé's Love. But even his character, who you may think that, hey, you know, he's, you know, sweet guy, he's not trying to like sleep with, you know, Elle Fanning character. This is still an older man trying to hook up with a 16-year-old. You know, and even if he doesn't know that she's 16-year-old, when she says, "How old are you?" and she says 16, he should just be like, "Okay, I gotta walk away right now." Because even though everyone, even like Christina Hendricks' character says, just say you're 19, and people will believe what you tell them to believe is one thing, but when she actually says for sure, "I'm 16," he should have just gotten out of there, and he still wants to kind of like stay in it. You know, even if his intentions seem to be, you know, moral, he doesn't want to like try to like have sex with her. It feels like in a way like how Elvis Presley and Priscilla was sort of like, you know, grooming Elle. And, you know, one day when she becomes 18, I can move in there, but I'll be her first boyfriend and whatnot. I just found that to be kind of fascinating. So I don't know, thoughts on that?
Well, I think that character is ultimately sympathetic. He starts off, it's kind of creepy because of the photography session that they're doing at the start of the film, and then he does seem to be a little bit of a stalker type, but ultimately, you know, he seems to respect her wishes not to get physical. He acknowledges that it would be inappropriate. He kind of treats it as a date. They're, you know, when they go out and they have a nice time and it's interesting and they had fun and it doesn't really involve sex or any overt romantic elements to it. I think you do begin to empathize with him, and then that's of course when it's important that we do that, because later on when he gets basically dismissed by her in that restaurant, it's the indication, you know, that's the signpost that we've made a transition in her character.
Yeah, because she now doesn't care about anyone else but herself. She becomes beauties and everything. And there's that sequence where I don't know what you call the guy with the mustache. I forgot the actor's name.
He's a fashion designer.
Fashion designer, thank you. When
he's talking to Dean, and he said, you know, look at Gigi here, Bella Heathcote, and what do you think about her? And he's like, well, she's fine. And he's like, yeah, that's it. Because Bella Heathcote's character had a whole bunch of, like, plastic surgery done. She had her ears pinned back, and she had lipo, and she had, like, a breast reduction and then another breast enhancement. So she had all this stuff done to her body. And then you got Jessie, who has not done anything to her body. She's just naturally beautiful. And you mentioned about that sequence when she's on the diving board and she says to Jenna Malone's character, you know, women will carve and cut and do everything. They will starve themselves just to look like how I do. The whole thing about beauty just not being, it's not the best thing. It's like the only thing. I do think that our culture does value beauty over a lot of things. And I think that was a message that Wyndon Refn was trying to say in this, is that, especially for like young girls, because he was nervous as a father, that I don't want my daughters just to be known only for just their beauty. And he was just making that cautionary horror tale about that, about what will happen if you become too narcissistic and how you praise yourself over what everyone else. And we kind of see that, especially what happens to Jessie later on in the movie. And I think we're at the part right now where we can close our general discussions. Am I right about that?
Oh, I think so, for sure, yeah. If we want to get into spoiler territory, this is perfectly fine.
Okay. So after Jessie becomes the quote-unquote neon demon, and she has that element at the hotel where she gets scared, she goes to live with Jenna Malone's character. And while there, Jenna Malone has kind of had her eyes on Elle Fanning's character throughout the whole movie. Ruby is her name. Ruby had her eyes on Jessie throughout the whole movie. Even at the beginning sequence, the first line of dialogue she says to her is, "Am I staring?" Because she had her eyes. She was probably more glued onto her more than Dean was. So Jessie goes to live with Ruby, and this is after she got attacked, and Ruby's like brushing her hair, and she tries to make the move, tries to like seduce her and grind on her, and Jessie just like not having it all, pushes her off the bed, and Ruby just gets like very mad and like, "You turned on me, that's it." She draws that giant circle with the X in there. That's supposed to be almost like a weird neon voodoo doll, whatnot. And then we get to the sequence, which was like Richard's favorite sequence.
Oh, Jesus.
The moment in the morgue. That's right. Our dear Ruby is not only a fashion makeup artist for live people, she's also a makeup artist for dead people. And she has this young woman, dead woman, in the room, and it's clear she got rejected by Jessie. James, let's go to you, because we haven't heard from you in a while there, good sir.
Great.
I know you're looking forward to this.
Thank you.
Let's get into like your thoughts about this
necrophilia.
What's that?
His thoughts on necrophilia? Yeah, that's what we're looking for.
On the love of the dead, yes. Let's.
Well, of course, it's significant that this is her second sequence in the morgue where she's making somebody up. Mm-hmm. The first woman isn't as attractive, but the second corpse is, and that's who she chooses to get herself off on. But the other major difference is that there was another person in the room in the earlier sequence. So she, okay. Even as I'm talking about it and trying to, rationalize things in this movie, I realize how stupid I sound trying to rationalize this stuff. Anyway, she's, she masturbates over the corpse, and then I can't. I'm blanking on what happens.
We should mention too that it goes back and forth.
Jesse wakes
between
up.
Jesse she goes back and forth between Jesse on the bed or on the couch, touching herself, and then you go to Ruby in the morgue, and it's clear that you're not quite sure whose fantasy it is. I think Ruby is fantasizing about Jesse while she is with the corpse. That's why she covers her face halfway through.
Yes.
Yeah, but I remember
that makes sense.
I do remember in theaters when that sequence happened, when she takes out the clothes, people were like, huh? And then she starts kissing her, and then she has spit in her mouth to make sure it's wet. And I laughed out loud, and people turned at me like I was the weird one, which I'm like, okay, sure, fine.
You were.
Sorry. But I just and I've seen a movie from '96 called Kissed with Molly Parker, which is exactly about a necrophilia, but it's almost like if Disney made a movie about necrophilia, it would be Kissed. Because
by the way, that's on their schedule right now, isn't it?
Wasn't Corpse Variety a Disney movie?
Right up there. But you look at a movie like Necromantic, because that is very much a very disturbing film about necrophilia, and then you got Kissed, where it's like, oh, that one, Kissed was also written and directed by a woman, and yeah, it's very bizarre and strange, but it's got really great performances, and it kind of has you wrestle with the character because you like her, but you don't like what she does, and that'd be the next future movie of the month, so we'll look out for that. So, Kissed, that's right.
June for our women-directed movie of the month series.
Oh, nice. Damn, there you go. Yes. I already know what Richard thought about that. My sequence is that this is where you know for sure that she becomes like a witch. She has a witchy technicals to her. And then she actually gets born out there. We have that monologue sequence where she's on the diving board talking to Ruby. And then afterwards, Jesse goes back into the house and she sees Abby Lee, or I get those two confused sometimes, those two actors. I can't tell one from the other, but she sees one of the models, and then she says, "Are we having a party here?" Then another, I think it was Abby Lee that punches her.
Yes.
And they go run off. They chase after her with knives. They chase her all the way to the pool area, and they're all standing there. And then Ruby shows up and very calmly just pushes her into the pool. She cracks her head open. So Jesse's dead. All right, she's dead. And
they stab her with their steely knives, but they still can't kill the beast.
Be careful. You might have to go to trial.
Yeah, I may have to. I didn't take it from the original lyrics,
We're referencing Hotel California for all those playing at home who aren't over 40.
But she dies. She goes to the pool. She's dead. And the next sequence is we see Ruby in a bathtub full of blood on her. The two other models are in the shower washing off the blood. And I gotta say, for a small 16, 17-year-old girl, she has a lot of blood. All right, that is just a massive amount of blood to fill a bathtub. I'm not quite sure you can fill a bathtub with the body of a young girl. I'm not sure, but it's to represent that they have devoured her, and now these models are now getting jobs and everything too. Forgot to mention that. What did we? Does anyone want to talk about the bathtub sequence before I move on?
Not particularly.
Okay, fair enough. All right, so, but there's one thing I want to ask you about, because this thing is kind of confusing for me. So Ruby, after she has this done, she's watering the pool, cleaning off all the blood. She's laying on the grave site, smoking and reading. And then there's a sequence where she's in this kind of like this bare room with an open window, and the moon is rising just when she lies down, spreads her legs, and water comes out. And I know that's supposed to represent childbirth. Was she given birth to a new being? What does that represent? I am not a woman. I have never been pregnant before. I don't know exactly what that means. I know there's some symbolism in this. There's like a lot of symbols in this, and I know if we had a woman on here, she'd be able to say, yes, that's the lunar cycle. That's where all women do this, and yeah. Help me out here, Matthew.
Yeah.
Thank you for calling on Matthew.
I mean, hard pass.
Okay.
No, I mean, I don't know. My only two thoughts here, well, there's three thoughts. One is that the bathtub is full of water and blood, not just blood. And she expels blood from her genitals, not water. And I don't quite know how to process all. I think the end of the movie is a bit of a mess. So,
but you understand my thoughts too. There has to be some sort of symbolism with that, with the moon and like the animals. There's like a lunar cycle, and women's period happens monthly too. And I'm like I said before, I mean
it's all there. I just don't know. I don't know exactly what Refn is trying to do with this scene. Like, I get a lot of it. I get the
and the fact that they
devour her. Yeah, like when they devour her, it's all about there's the jealous one and the vain one, and then you could argue that Jenna Malone represents more of the industry at large, and they literally consume her for her beauty. And I think it's like I said, I think earlier that it's all a bit too on the nose to work as satire. Like it doesn't strike the right balance to really work, and I feel like there's things he's going for that I can't really speak about with enough confidence to say out loud, but I don't think any of it really works anyway at this point in the film. And I don't, I mean, it's certainly a striking visual though. Again, it's a thing that I'm sure, if this was a video podcast, I would make a face to show you what my face looked like when I was watching this. Because I feel like it was, again, just going back to that kind of beautiful but also kind of repulsive all at once, and mostly repulsive because I just don't think what he's going for works, and I can't properly articulate what he's going for.
Hey, if you send me a picture of that face that you made, I will put it in the YouTube version of our podcast.
Nice. Oh. All right. If no one has anything else to say, we'll move on to the last sequence where our two models have now gone into doing a job at this pool. Jack is there shooting some sort of I don't know, I guess commercial for Ray-Ban sunglasses. I'm not entirely sure what they're shooting. The other models that they did hire gets fired, and she even says to one of the models earlier, "Did you ever have a woman screw you out of a job?" And one of them says yes, and she goes, "What did you do?" "I ate her." Ooh, gross. And not knowing that she actually did eat her. She's thinking that she destroyed her career or some reason. All right, so we have our two models. They're standing side to side with each other. One of them, I believe, was Bella Heathcote. She's the one that
just had the work done.
Yes, when we're done, she starts to get really ill and not feeling so well, and she leaves the shoot. She gets it. She throws up the eyeball, and I believe shows up, and Bella's like, "I have to get her out of me. I have to," and she performs, a coup de grace. Or what's where she the samurai thing?
Harikari.
Harikari, thank you very much. Where she
with a pair of scissors.
Yeah.
Very impressive, I gotta say. All right, it's not easy to do with a pair of scissors. All right. She disembowels herself, and Bella Heathcote. No, sorry, Bella Heathcote or Abby Lee. Sorry, Abby Lee.
Yes.
sees the
Everybody's
eyeball
observing.
that she throws up, and you see her face. She becomes very much, when she takes off those sunglasses and those eyes, and like, oh wow, you are completely plastic. Which, yes, you're totally right. This is a sort of a Mean Girls sort of ripoff in a way too. So I like that very much because she takes off the sunglasses. She has like the stoic face in there. Takes the eyeball, eats it, yum yum yum, and then leaves to be in a perfume ad with music by Sia. The end. When I saw the end of that, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, everyone is going to hate this movie, but for some reason, I love it. And I was wrestling in my mind about it, too, when watching it, because a lot of things I don't think made sense for it. And then I realized this is a movie that I just gotta have it let it be. I think it's gorgeously looking. It doesn't have storyline to it. It's not a movie I can recommend really to everyone. It's a movie that I will show to friends to prove that you are still my friend after many years. I use it as a friendship test.
Nice.
If they don't cut you off after watching this, then they must really like you because of what you've imposed and asked them to do.
And depending on their reaction, you say, you can leave now.
I was going to give people a challenge here, right? If you can make it to the end of this movie, I will help you out doing this, all right? I helped you move. Now you got to sit down and watch The Neon Demon.
Well, at this point, I feel I could be perfectly justified in asking you to pick me up at LAX.
Okay. I probably should do that. Let's give. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I was just reacting to picking somebody up at LAX.
The seventh circle of hell.
Yes.
All right. Let's just get our grades and just general thoughts about the movie. Just about this, I'm gonna ask you, Matthew, name one thing you liked about the movie and one thing you didn't like about the movie. Fair?
One thing I liked about it, the stylish and striking cinematography, and one thing I didn't like about the movie, the content of the movie.
Okay. It's almost like saying, like, I like looking at the box art of the movie, but I don't like what's in the movie.
I mean, basically, like,
yeah.
I don't think you're wrong. You said something earlier about, like, you know, how a lot of the shots in the film, like, you could take a frame and put it on your wall.
Yeah.
And I think that, like, there's a lot of really striking visuals. I think it's gorgeously shot. I think Natasha Breyer should be working more than she is, because this film is absolutely gorgeous. And I think on a technical level, it's basically unimpeachable in that way. And I think that it is also utterly repulsive.
But see, I gotta have those visuals with that score from Cliff Martinez, because that score adds to the music of it. And I can't just have just a photograph. I need to have the actual.
I'm going to jump in for just a second.
Martinez doesn't do any wrong. Like he's also the score is also great.
The score felt to me like it was outtakes from Vangelis's Blade Runner score. You know, it was just leftover bits and pieces. It fit with the theme of the movie, but it really didn't feel all that original to me. And it just felt warmed over, I think. But that's me. That was not the thing.
Should be nominated for an Oscar.
I mean, I wouldn't go that far. And I sort of get what you're saying, Richard, but I still think I think it fit the film really well.
Yes, it did.
But like I say, this is, again, like, in terms of, like, the filmmaking involved, I think this movie's great. And in terms of what the film is actually showing me and what it's trying to say, it's repulsive.
Okay.
So that's my review.
What would you give a score out of this, out of 5?
Shrug emoji.
Okay, all right.
Like, I think I ended up giving it like 3 out of 5 on Letterboxd, and that is because I don't think it's entirely without merit, and I do think the technical stuff is worth at least seeing. But like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm always on team see it for yourself, but this is definitely a see it for yourself movie. I have no idea who I would ever possibly recommend this film to, ever.
Oh, well, shoot, because I just gave it to my mom to watch for her birthday, so I don't know if she's going to take it now. Wow, all right.
That's, hope she doesn't have a weak heart.
That is a capital C choice, sir.
James, let's get to your thoughts. Give me one good thing you liked about the movie and one thing you didn't like about the movie.
I like the occasional striking image, but as much as everybody says it was beautifully shot, there's an awful lot of murk in this movie. And, you know, every so often, it's just a black screen. So, you know, it depends on where you pick your frame. What I didn't like about the movie?
Yes. Hello?
The silences.
All right, bravo. That was great. All right. Score you would give it?
1, because people evidently got paid.
Oh, and they were paid too little. I agree. They should have been paid more for that, James. Appreciate those thoughts. Richard, give me one thing you liked about this and one thing you didn't like about this.
Well, I liked some of the composition issues. When the fashion designer is interviewing the women, and you know they're all there in their underwear, and it's a stark white background. I thought this is an interesting approach, and I can see why he's looking for some kind of minor detail that stands out on all of these people, and it gave me a little bit of a sense of how that industry might work. I like the visual of creepy photographer Jack rubbing gold on Jessie when she's in the dark and the makeup on, and I thought that was composed in an interesting way as well. So there are sequences that look striking and interesting, even though they aren't about anything. So that's what I liked. What I didn't like was how repulsive the one sequence was that we've already talked about, and how it took me out of any interest that's going on there. So and one of the reasons I kind of have gotten rid of the Lamb scores over the years is because I really don't. I want people to listen to the discussion and not just go to a number. I would not be recommending this film to anybody that I know, except you, Vern.
Yes, okay, fair enough.
Because I know you like Showgirls, and you got us through Species. So
yes,
and Howard the Duck, and I'm going, okay, there are films out there that are deliberately annoying. Who would like that? And I'm going, the Vern.
Yeah. And I appreciate art, Richard. All right, I'm a fan of art.
It's okay.
And I want to make sure other people understand my love of these art films right there. All right, that's fair. As I said before, I do absolutely enjoy this film. One of my favorite sequences is the moment where they're at the party and that strobe light dance sequence happens. Like that very much. When she does turn to the neon demon, she's getting double of herself. I like that as well. I laughed out loud at the whole necrophilia scene because I thought it was absolutely ridiculous. And the fact that this is in a mainstream movie. Like, this was playing everywhere. It was made by Amazon Studios, and they released this movie wide, and studios were like, yes, necrophilia scene, people will love this. Let's put that in the movie. And, yes, the fact that I was playing at wide theaters with, like, general audiences just made me just laugh and love, because people were going to say, oh, I love Drive. Oh, Keanu Reeves in this movie. Oh, this is going to be great. It's about models, and it's going to be a horror film. And that sequence comes on, it's like, they're like, what the fuck? Oh, yeah. So,
and it succeeded in keeping people out of the theaters seeing it.
Yes. The weirdness of it, the musical score, the acting, the composition, the campiness of it, because this is a camp movie. It's a horror movie. It's melodrama. It deals with existentialism. It just has all these elements into it. And yes, it is a movie you just kind of like vibe with. And I definitely vibe with this movie. I think it's a lot of fun. It's great. Yeah, that's all I really have to say about the Neon Demon. I know I've had other people that I've talked to on my Facebook group wall, and I was actually very kind of surprised they actually had some good things to say about the Neon Demon. So yeah.
Well, I'm sorry we couldn't get them on the show to join you.
So what I'll leave a quote for under here. I won't say the name right there. He says, "Love this movie. As for explaining it, remember the reference rule. His movies aren't that complex from a story point of view. A lot of times he even touches on themes touched on earlier filmmakers. It's not what he's saying that's the draw, it's how he says it. That's the real treat." A lot of women are saying that this is one of my favorites of the year that I was friends here. I have a friend of mine. She says, "So cool. I know a lot of people hated this movie. I most certainly did not." And yeah, there's I'll find the link later on, but there's a woman critic that also gave it good reviews. But she also says she doesn't like a lot of it too. She likes some things of it and hates a lot of things. For me, movies are like albums, and I can like certain tracks of albums, but maybe not the whole thing. And from listening to everyone's discussion of this, it seems like they liked certain things about this movie, but they do not like the overall movie of this. Am I fair in saying that?
No.
So yeah, you talked about the cinematography being striking, but you
I said there are some striking images in it, but I think those are the highlights. I found a lot of it murky, really murky, and to the point where he had to do a lot of fudging in order to get an R rating. But when he had to use his contrast vision in order to get a good composition, then it looks very good.
Right out there. All right, we're going to close out the discussion on the Neon Demon. Thank you, everyone here, for watching it. Thank you to everyone out there who voted for this movie. You are sick, twisted individuals like myself, and I love you dearly for doing so. Yes, I had no idea that there were many people like me that went to see this movie when it discussed. So thank you to everyone out there that did. So,
all right, we're going to take a quick...
Go ahead. I want the names of those 6 people. I want to block them from my Facebook page.
Have time for another podcast and enjoy listening to 2 idiots discussing films? Then look no further.
We are Movie Drone Podcast, 2 mates sitting down to discuss new releases, nostalgic films, and anything and everything in between.
He's Steve.
And he's Mark.
Together we answer listener questions and set each other homework, giving each other a film to watch that the other hasn't seen, in the hope of unearthing hidden gems.
You can download us on iTunes, Podbean, as well as Google Search us to find us on loads of different platforms.
Or email moviedronepodcast@hotmail.com. I think that's all.
No chance, mate.
Huh?
You've forgotten everyone's favourite feature, Mark's movie impressions.
Oh, I hope you've forgotten it too, to be honest.
No chance of that, mate. You think you should do one.
I hate you.
Come on, mate. Show them what you got.
I ain't no fun. Yo, Adrian! And if that hasn't put you off, give us a try. There's a small chance you won't regret it.
Get access to episodes early, uncut video footage, and bonus shows by becoming a Patreon member. Go to patreon.com/cinemarecallpod. And for just $3 a month, you will help support our independent podcast. Thank you so much. And now, back to the show.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Cinema Recall podcast. I'm still, what do you call it here, touring on, plunging on through these movies. Big thank you to Matthew Stewart from the Simplistic Reviews podcast, one of the best podcasts ever on the Intersphere. And if you're not listening to the Simplistic Reviews podcast, I question your taste in podcast listening, because they are like the creme de la crop of podcasts on the Intersphere.
And we did not pay you at all to say that. There's nothing going on here. There's no funny business.
Don't worry, I'm just gonna stroke the Simplistic Reviews shank a little bit. Ooh. And just get my hands all up in there and just tugging away at the awesomeness.
Man, a lot of words that mean something right there. I'm sure. Not sure what it means, but it means something. So
yeah, if you want to get your podcast tugged on or flicked or whatever, lit and sucked on, then email us at cinemarecall@gmail.com and give us your podcast. If you have an ad spot, like an MP3 ad spot, put it in the email. We'll play it on an episode. If you want to become a guest on that episode too, email me too, and I'll get you on an episode, and I will totally stroke your long, hard ego on the show. All right.
Man, man, again, I should have worn less clothes for this podcast, because I'm like drenched. I'm drenched into sweat right now. It's like, that's how serious this is right now. So
yeah, that's right. So moving on. After that,
if we could move on from,
I know, right?
From that. I don't know how we move on from that.
Yeah,
but we're gonna try right now.
Have your cigarette or whatever. All right, get some ice water. But the next movie that we are going to feature is 2016's Raw.
From award-winning writer-director Julia Ducournau, Raw is an emotionally driven coming-of-age movie. A modern horror masterpiece. Beautifully realized and disturbingly erotic.
So, Raw is about this young French student who goes to this veterinary school, and while there, her sister gets her involved with this hazing ritual where she has to eat a rabbit kidney. Now, this young girl, whose name is Justine, she has been living as a vegetarian for years. There's an earlier sequence when her mom freaks out that she finds a piece of meat in the girl's mashed potatoes before they drop her off at school. So, while there, after she has a hazing ritual, she eats this rabbit kidney, she starts to develop a taste for not just meat, but also for human flesh as well. And that's where I'm going to kind of leave things for right now. We're definitely going to get into some spoilers later on. So as always, if you have never seen Raw, do highly recommend watching it. Where did you see this movie, Matt?
This was actually the first time. I mean, just I would say about hour and 45 minutes before we jumped into this podcast was the first time for me watching this from beginning to end. I wanted to have it fresh in my mind because I know the notoriety this film has. Plus, it's also part of the new wave French extreme cinema and everything too. So you're going to see some fucked up shit when it comes to one being a French horror film and two it being part of the whole extreme wave of French cinema.
Is it a horror film?
I mean, that's a tough one. I mean,
yeah. I
mean, you could call it a horror film. I mean, how do you classify a horror film in a lot of ways? Is it being a slasher film? Is it being a supernatural film? What is horror in a lot of ways? I mean, I would almost call this a body horror film in a lot of ways. Not as much as a Cronenberg body horror film, but I mean, this movie does have a lot of things to do with body changing, adolescence, things like that, and just it turns into a horrific horror. It turns into a horror show because there are some horrific images in this film. But this is my first time watching it from beginning to end. I've seen the last scene of the film, and I was always like, "Oh, that's weird. Where did that come from?" So, So I remember vividly the beginning of the film. Remember vividly the end of the film, the last scene of the film. But everything in the middle, I've never seen. So,
okay.
This film is it's definitely something.
It's kind of like a weird coming of age story.
It's definitely that.
Because it's about this young girl Justine. She's kind of been living under her parents' care for a while, and she finally is coming out to college. So that means there's going to be a lot more things going on as college.
Let me just say this college is fucking crazy. I've been to a lot of college parties. This is a different level.
Okay, so yeah, the very first night, when they first go into the dorm hall, the upperclassmen run into the dorm room and start just pushing all their beds and all their stuff off the window, and then they force them to stand in this line, and they just have to walk this long way. Then they make them get on their hands and knees and crawl all the way to this big, giant party that's going on.
Yeah.
In this other building, which was kind of cool, and that's where Justine meets her sister, and she shows her that her folks once went there too, and you see the picture of them getting kind of, you don't know what the picture is of, that you just hear Justine saying, "Well, guys, you can barely see their faces in this." And you have no idea what that really means until you see the sequence when they're standing for a group photo. It's Justine and the other younger class freshmen or whatever.
Yeah.
They're standing for a picture, and then a huge tidal wave of blood gets splashed on them. And I'm going to assume that's animal blood.
I would assume it was the horse's blood that we see prior to this scene as well.
Oh,
so
okay.
That's what I'm assuming. You don't really see that because there's a lot of weird stuff going on. There's a lot of dream sequency type things going on. But if I was left to assume that was the horse that they drugged with the ketamine and slaughtered and threw the blood on, that would be my guess.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. That does. Wow. Jeez. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. A lot of other dream sequency stuff too. When she's pulling hair out of her mouth.
See, and the thing, and that's the thing with this film where you don't really know. I don't know. Was that her hair? I would assume, but later you don't really know. There's a lot of things that you have to fill the gaps in on this film. Where is that her hair, or I'll let you kind of explain more. But I have my thoughts on some of these things. So
I think maybe she's just trying to shed her old ways. I guess I don't know. I'm totally guessing on this one. She's puking out her old persona and getting more into a new persona. So here's the thing that was kind of confusing for me, and it may be confusing for other people, especially people who have seen this movie or those that have not seen this movie, is that after she takes a bite of the rabbit kidney, she starts to develop these rashes on her skin. These very weird, rashes, and she's getting, these ointments to clear it up and starts peeling it. She's hanging out with her roommate, and she's suddenly, after eating, I think it was, they're outside some sort of convenience store, and she's eating meat.
Eating shawarma. She's eating kebabs, yeah.
Kebabs, okay. So then she moves from being cooked meat to eating, I think it was raw chicken or raw salmon.
Yeah, out of the refrigerator. She's eating just raw, raw chicken, yeah.
Raw chicken right there. But she's also kind of ashamed of eating chicken because the roommate comes by and says, "What are you doing?" She's like, "I'm trying to find cereal."
Yeah.
In the fridge while I was looking for milk.
Yeah.
And she's just kind of hiding this meat, just loving meat.
Yeah.
And then it goes from that to a sequence that I'm going to talk about first. And this might be your sequence too, but there's a sequence when her sister, Justine's sister, wants to give her a wax, bikini wax.
Yeah.
Alexia's the sister,
Yeah.
played by Elle Fanning. Justine is played by Ancy Marler.
Sounds about right. You're good.
Basically, put it this way. So Justine is getting her privates waxed, and one of the other strips or whatever, the wax gets stuck, and she can't seem to pull off the hair.
Yeah.
So she grabs a pair of scissors to try to like cut the wax off. Justine gets nervous and she kicks Alexis in the head, and for some reason Alexis cuts her finger off.
Yeah, I guess the way it was positioned, whether it, I don't know. Needless to say, her finger is cut off.
Her finger gets cut off. And then, after she sees her blood, Alexis passed out.
Yeah.
So Justine calls at the hospital. They tell her to put it on ice. So she's like, okay, I'll put it on ice. But then she's just looking at the finger. And then she starts smelling a little bit. I'm like, all right, I know where this is going to go. And then she starts to, like, eat it.
Yep.
And I'm like, that's kind of like a weird transaction from going to eating uncooked chicken meat to eating the human finger. But my favorite moment is when, like, the sister actually wakes up and sees Justine eats the finger, and she's just looking at her face going, really? My finger? But also she knows what her sister is becoming because Alexis has the same feelings too, and there's actually other sequences where Alexis tries to teach Justine how to eat human flesh. So I know there was like one sequence in the trailer where her like having the scissors down there that made like a lot of people kind of like squirm, and when I saw this in theaters, that was definitely a sequence they had. My theater jumped when they watched it, but I just kind of like how the tone of it turns from being a very horrific kind of gory horror moment to a scene of like comedy, especially with the sister waking up and her having that look on her face, like, this is so inconvenient. That was my finger.
Yeah, it's like, really, I could have used that or something like that. You didn't have to eat my finger. You could have eaten anything else in the entire world, but you had to eat my finger at that moment. So, but then it leads to basically her dog getting put down by her family because they blame it on the dog. Classic is the dog ate it. The dog ate my homework or something like that. It turns into a little bit, which is hilarious in a really dark way. So.
Yeah, definitely. I just had to mention that sequence. Also, my other favorite sequence too is that when the sisters begin fighting, because apparently now in the movie there is a scene where Justine is being filmed. One to eat human flesh, like they take her down to this
to the morgue,
the morgue. Now I thought this was a veterinarian school. Why is there a human morgue there?
When in the beginning of the film, when the parents are dropping Justine off, they explain, they were like, "Oh, here's the campus, here's the hospital, here's the morgue." So like, the morgue is next. So it is like working hospital, but that's also where they take Alexis and they patch her up and everything. So everything resides on this campus, basically.
On this campus.
And everything also happens within a week, because this is all like the rush week, hazing week, and stuff like that too. So just using it for time purposes,
Okay, I think I might have missed that element too, where the actual morgue was, and I didn't understand if it was in the campus. Okay, but anyways, there's a sequence too where they're videotaping Justine, just trying to like, she's totally possessed and crazy, but
she's like she's just drunk. She's like fucking beyond drunk. At this point.
So this is a drunk thing. When she gets really drunk, she's like, I'm gonna fucking just eat human
I guess
flesh.
when I'm drunk, I just get a hankering for human. It's like, people get Taco Bell when they're really drunk. She eats human flesh when
human flesh.
Really
Okay,
drunk. Yeah, basically.
that is a maddest drunk right there. There's like other moments too, like when she's dancing in the mirror. To that one really odd rap song.
Really crazy French rap song by like Demons and 69 and everything else. I'm like, what the fuck is this song?
The band of that is called Ortiz.
Oh.
Orties, and they are a French female duo rap group. They are like a gothic gangster rap group.
Okay, it was it was very horrorcore almost. It was,
yeah. And that's
French
horrorcore.
horrorcore.
That's what it is. It's all their songs are basically about horror, gory stuff, but in kind of like this rap vibe to it. It's actually pretty funny, pretty good in there. Yeah. But I'm ignoring you, Matthew. Any moments here that really stood out for you as well?
I mean, we're kind of agreeing on a lot of things with this film. I mean, I guess the thing that it's something that's very brief in the film. There's two scenes in particular with the because obviously she gets that really bad rash when she gets to school. We don't really know what the cause of that is. Because she like put the rabbit kidney in her mouth and threw it up. Or was it the horse blood, or so-called? I'm saying I'm calling it horse blood. I don't know what horse blood does to the human body or things like that. But if that's that, I never want horse blood on my body to get a horrible rash like that. But then when she goes to visit the nurse gives her that balm or that salve, basically to help cure her. But then you see it later on in Alexis's room when she opens up her medicine cabinet. You see the same balm in her, so I don't know. Is this like the cannibal balm or something like that? Because that's the only thing that does it only work on vegetarians? Because remember, her whole family they're vegetarians, and assumedly Alexis was a vegetarian before she left to go to vet school as well too. So, but they're the only two people on campus that seem to have a hankering for human flesh. Everybody else seems to be pretty okay, but is that because they've been eating meat their entire life? So there's a lot to be said about, like, is this like an anti-vegetarian film, or a pro-meat film, or pro-animal film, or anti-human film? It's kind of hard to decide what that's supposed to mean in a lot of ways too. So, well,
according to the director Julia Ducournau, and I apologize immensely for messing up the pronunciation of her name. Through interviews, she stated that she wanted to make a movie about cannibalism, but not have it be about the weird, freaky underground creatures with have their teeth missing, and whatnot. She wanted to create a movie about cannibals, but have them seem real, like they come from a real family. And Justine's family is a family of cannibals.
They are at the end of the day.
Especially, the mom. The mom is definitely a cannibal, and we found out near the end that her father doesn't so much mind the snacking and chewing because he loves her, and that's maybe one of his fetishes, and that's why he still has to wear. I never understood why too he has wearing all those scarves.
Yeah, he's just on his neck. Yeah, he's covering his entire body because his body is a roadmap of just cannibalism, basically. So. Yeah.
But also it seems like the mother, and I'd be kind of fascinated to see a prequel with the mother, because the mother doesn't want her child have any type of meat at all.
Yeah.
Because she knows the downward path it will have on her. It's kind of like, I don't want you to experience my mistakes ever again.
Yeah.
And so I want to trying to forbid you. So what Julie was saying, that it's not good to suppress things, even dark things. It's good to deal with it, and I guess understand and live through it. The dark things are something that you should maybe try to embrace a little bit. And so because the more you push those things in,
the more
suppress
suppression,
them, the more that it will have a much more damaging effect on you in later years. So I think for Justine, when she does go through with this, and she does end up going back home, because I'm going to do some spoilers here too.
We can spoil at this point, I feel. I think we're at spoiler territory here.
So at the end, she does end up having sex with her roommate, who has been gay this whole time, but they have sex, and in the morning when she's waking up, she sees that the guy's laid, has been chewed up.
Yeah.
And the guy's dead. And we see Justine's sister lying there
playing video games.
Like no, well, not playing video games, but she's kind of lying there, like all dazed, from having just eaten his flesh. So she obviously goes to jail for killing the boyfriend. But it might have been the Justine character, not just Alexis, who had some feeding going on, because when they first have sex, I think she's chewing on his arm.
Well, she chewed on her arm.
It was on her arm.
It was like when they the first time she's having sex with Adrian. Adrian's the male character. They're having sex, and he's like, "Hey, hold on a minute, like, no, chill the fuck out." But then she just like bites into her arm, and he's kind of like, "Oh, this is like weird." But he's also oddly accepting of it in some ways, and that's what's kind of interesting about. Like, I guess their dynamic and the school. I mean, at the end of the day, this school is like fucked up. This school is like totally insane, and there's a lot of things going on in this school that I guess it's France, so they're a little bit more wild out there in France than we are here in America. So,
especially there's like a sequence. So I'm going back and forth between different sequences, and if you've never seen this movie before, it's going to make even less sense.
Yeah.
But there's a sequence when Justine goes to this party room and they throw blue paint on her.
Yeah.
And they grab another guy who has yellow paint, and they go them into the room for like 5 minutes in the closet, tell them to make green together.
Yeah.
And then they start like making out, and then she bites his lower lip off, and she runs off, and I'm like, what kind of school has parties where they throw paint on each other? And how can you kiss someone with paint on their mouth?
I mean, they seem. I mean, I don't know. I mean, they were trying to do it, but then it turned into red anyway, so it was fine. So
yeah, but like, how? I mean, I just don't understand the logic of how to kiss somebody with like paint on their mouth too. I'd be worried I'd be swallowing that stuff and getting food poisoning.
I mean, I guess it was food safe paint, if anything. So it's
must
fine.
Been, yeah. that
not cannibal safe, but food safe at least. So,
but I mean, I know those food dyes, but you got like a whole bunch of them to cover your whole body and that stuff. I mean, that's an expensive fetish to do. I cannot do that.
I mean, I don't know.
I'm not keen shaming anybody.
Maybe you're repressed, Vern. Maybe this is a film that you should be looking to unrepress yourself a little bit.
I should be not be afraid of like paint shame. Like I said, I'm not trying to kink shame everybody. And if it seems like I am, I apologize immensely. That was not at all my intention with my discussion of the sequence, but it just was a little bit out there.
It's just not for Vern, maybe.
Yeah, that's right. Not all kinks are for the Vern. All right, Vern's into many other kinks, but just not
paint
that one. not paint kink. So near the end of the sequences, we see that Alexis is now in jail for the murder of the roommate, Adrian.
Yeah, Adrian. Yeah.
Adrian. Okay. And now Justine is back at home. And we reveal the truth about her family and that her mother has been a cannibal, chewing on her dad this longest time. So we're revealed that this sort of like this feed and this lust inside Justine was going to be there for a long time. But I have a feeling too that after her whole experience in college with her sister and everything that just has happened, I don't think she's going to become the hardcore cannibal as everyone else is. It's kind of one of those things like with alcohol. It's just like, yeah, it's some fun with alcohol, but it's not really for me. I'm not going to discourage it. So if my kids get into it, that's fine. I'll help explain it to them, but it's not going to be something that I'm going to become that involved with. Maybe. I don't know. It just seems to be like one of those movies where it's like you're coming of age. Like, look, I had some problems with drugs and alcohol before, and now I'm clear of the whole thing.
Yeah.
That's just kind of my. This is kind of like a positive movie. I do think that one of the things that stands out about this feature is the way it's shot.
Yeah.
And its musical score.
Yeah, it has this very like intense, like especially during the finger eating scene. Like it's the first time you get this like really intense music going on. Where I can't explain. I like it, but it's also very like gothic sounding, like very driving score towards these with these very intense scenes and everything. So,
well, the composer's name is like Jim Williams.
Yeah, Jim Williams.
Who also shot, he also did the score for a Field in England, and he did Lockstock series. Yeah, that's really it. He hasn't really done too much there, but it's got this nice organ in there.
Yeah.
Plus, it's mixed in with other modern pop songs on the soundtrack. Really just kind of flow well together very much. But yeah, I like this movie, but not really as much as a lot of people do. I know a lot of people these movies give like a lot of high praise, and I do know there is a nice female famous angel. So from a woman's perspective, I would like to hear maybe a woman's take.
Yeah, absolutely.
On this movie.
Yes.
I do think it has really good characters. I like the characters of the sisters. I thought they seemed like they were related in real life. I like the sequence when the older sister is teaching the younger sister how to pee standing up.
Yeah, pee standing up. Yeah, there's a lot of these and I guess from like a male perspective, I mean, we're not even from a male perspective, but from a film perspective, we're not used to females being portrayed on screen as regular people. There's always that very this is how a female is supposed to act on screen, that you follow the tropes, you do this, you do that. Whereas this is basically these are real girls who I'm sure you probably talked to, maybe your wife or your girlfriend who went to college. I'm sure they were probably doing crazy shit too. So it's a very realistic, at least from my perception, a realistic feel of what it would be to be away from home, be away from your parents, be just surrounded by your peers and or your sister who's maybe just a little bit older than you or younger than you. So, a lot of that stuff going on, Coming of age, we keep going back to, Well,
let me ask you this too, because Justine doesn't really start having sex until she starts eating meat. Like, she has no attraction to other men or women or whatnot, but when she starts eating meat, I think it was after she started eating her sister's finger, or maybe it was before, but it's definitely a sequence when she starts eating meat. She starts seeing Adrian play basketball.
Oh yeah, he's playing soccer in the courtyard.
Playing soccer in the courtyard. And she starts to lust after him, but I wasn't pretty sure if she was just lusting after him for having sex or
to eat him,
food, or maybe both. I mean, this girl likes to play with her food, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, don't we all? It's interesting what starts happening to Justine. I mean, she's her whole life. She's known as being a vegetarian and almost she's repulsed by meat. She's repulsed by everything that has to do with meat. And she has that other monologue earlier in the film talking about do pigs have rights, or pigs have the same rights as we do, or animals have the same rights as humans? Because one guy starts talking about monkeys and how AIDS started. There's some weird conversations and weird non sequiturs that go on in this film too, especially in the beginning of it. But I mean, that's kind of like one of the hallmarks of just French cinema, or at least French extreme cinema, where they're talking how people are probably really talking in real life. And as Americans, I'm sure we're a little how could you talk this way? But we're also sheltered and, we're Americanized and we're scared of everything that has to do with sex and taboo things anyway. So, I don't know, but this movie has kind of a weird, I don't know if it's, I don't want to say supernatural, but there's the thing I can't get off of is how everything kind of comes to be, where she goes from vegetarian to unrepressed girl wanting to just eat human flesh and have sex and do everything else. I keep going back to the balm scene where the nurse gives her the balm to put on her rash. And the fact that her sister has the same thing too. So I'm sure her sister had the same reaction she did when she first went to school. So there's a lot of unanswered things. How much of this is really based on how you become unrepressed once you're away from your parental units and becoming a woman or an adult woman or adult male, So a lot of things to kind of go over. There's a lot of stuff underneath this movie.
And I kind of wish that on the DVD I got from the library that it had a commentary track from the director Julia Ducournau, because I wanted to have her explain scenes or the overall arc of the story to me a little bit more. But she may be one of those filmmakers that says, "Well, it's up to you to interpret it for yourself."
Yeah, which is fine. Yeah,
that's fine. And I gotta say this too: this was her first movie that she ever directed. I mean, she's done like a short film before this, but this is like her first like feature length movie. And I gotta say, for a first timer, yeah, you definitely have like a style down. Like you kind of remind me of a lot like we mentioned Cronenberg, definitely puts like Lynch, and she definitely has like this style
absolutely
to her work. People were calling it like the neon demon type of element to it, and I don't really see that much of that.
Maybe just the way it's shot, maybe, or something, or some.
There is some like some neon shots a little bit there, but I think she kind of holds it to her own. I know this movie was featured on a lot of top 10 lists of the year in 2016 when it came out. I know it was featured on my list as well. Do heavily enjoy this feature, but can totally understand why people would not. I'm gonna rate like out of jars of. What should we rate this under?
I think it should be fingers. How many fingers? How many fingers are we giving this? Yeah.
I'm gonna give this one for me out of like 5. I'm gonna give this one. I'm gonna give it 4.
4 fingers, huh?
4 fingers, yes.
Okay.
Just because I'm a visual person and I like the visuals, I like the score, and maybe the storyline is kind of fragmented in parts, but it's still very good. Like good performances, good acting, good production design. Story kind of lacks a little bit, but I still try to give it a 4.
Yeah, I'm in your ball. I'd probably give it 4 fingers as well too. I like the way it looked. I like the way it was directed. I like the way it was acted. There's a lot underneath the surface in this film. There's all the metaphors you can probably think of, and you can go back to just being basically, well, it's a coming of age story about a girl realizing that she's been repressed her entire life, and she's finally enjoying all that life has to offer, whether it's sex, eating meats, getting your bikini waxed, eating your sister's finger, or eating your lover's leg, whatever it might be,
She might be this girl that's just been eating mashed potatoes her whole life, and she's never eaten anything ever besides just mashed potatoes. So a to her, she's like, well, I tried one piece of meat, what's another piece of meat? Maybe this stuff tastes really good, so she's really just trying to discover herself and what she likes best. And if it turns out she does like meat, like, well, she's going to embrace that and accept it. And who knows? I mean, she's kind of just growing into a very independent woman. So the story is basically about independence.
Independence and being yourself, and not really giving a fuck what other people think about you. Because there are a lot of judgy people at this vet school. They're like, oh my god, you are the worst. You are like, what's wrong with this girl? It's like everybody else is repressed, and they're going to have to go and find their own way to bust out of their normalcy and go into their own life. Because these seem to all be the kids that seem to have the biggest problem are the ones that are the new kids, like the freshmen.
Yeah.
All the elders, or what they call themselves, it's either they're the elders or there's something else they want to be called. So.
Oh gosh, I forget.
Whatever it might be, something like that.
There's even a song that they have to sing to them too.
They sing a lot of different songs, a lot of like weird songs about animals and things like that too. This school probably wouldn't be for me unless you're really into being hazed and going through the rush scenario of most colleges and things like that. So, but yeah, 4 fingers. The movie has a lot to offer. Not for everybody, of course, and I'm giving it more 4 based on technical merits and the fact that we're having a 45 minute conversation about a single film. So.
I know, right? Well, thank you very much for that enlightened conversation, Matthew. I don't think we can say any more about Raw or about Ravenous, but if you have any thoughts about any of these features, You can tweet us at cinema_recall. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram. Just type in Cinema Recall Podcast. Give us suggestions about what other cult films we should talk about. Maybe mention some other films that we have talked about and shouldn't have talked about yet. But anyways, you can find that all through, we are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. But my big thanks again to Matthew Stewart from the Simplistic Reviews podcast, and I'm going to just go down a little bit on the Simplistic Reviews podcast pussy and just start kind of lapping that up a little bit there and, fingering that sucker.
Man, again, I mean...
Sorry, I can't get enough of it.
Oof, I
it
know.
tastes so good.
You can't help yourself. I feel like you're having a coming of age right now. So you're having your own raw story right now.
But I do love this podcast very much. You got Matthew Stewart, Justin Polizzi, DJ Valentine, announcer Julia. Just a wonderful, funny podcast where they take on different topics. They do a TV roundup. They play some fun games. Just all in all, an incredibly fun show that I look forward to every month. So, Matthew, hold on, let me get my mouth off this.
There you go.
Here, so
as you talk. Let me grab your hair. Lift your head off. There you go. Now we can have a conversation.
Tell the listeners out there where they can find Simplistic Reviews.
Yeah, if you just really want the one-stop shop of everything that we offer throughout podcasting, the website, social media, you can just visit simplisticreviews.net. That's SIMPLISTICREVIEWS. I don't think I've ever spelled out Simplistic Reviews in a while. So you have that .net. You can check everything out under the sun. That is also where the new and improved website. We moved from one platform to another, so we have a different look, different feel. It's a little bit easier to search for everything on the website as well too. But you can also look for us on social media if you don't want to go to the website. We're on Twitter, we're on Instagram mostly, we're on Facebook. So just search that on Facebook, Simplistic Reviews, or if you're on Twitter, Simple Tweeters, or on Instagram, you have Simply Gramming. And if you're interested in what any of my other cohorts have to say, on Twitter, it's trying to be DJV. That's DJ Valentine's handle. And then Justin Polizzi is also Cheez It Man. It's CHEZITMAN. Cheez It Man is his Twitter handle. We tweet out every once in a while. We don't do as much tweeting because we're busy on the website and podcasting and doing everything else. But podcast is downloadable wherever you can find podcasts, from iTunes to Stitcher to Spotify and everywhere in between. So subscribe, like, and if you want more of a visual aid with the podcast, you can go over to YouTube, search out Simplistic Reviews on YouTube, and you can find some nice videos that we've been doing lately, and of course all the podcasts and commentaries as well. So everywhere on the interwebs you can find. We're like a virus. We're like the herpes of the internet. We go away, but then we flare right back up again, and then we go away again, and we flare back up because, as one movie taught me, herpes are forever, man.
Oh, herpes are forever. That and glitter.
That too.
Glitter's also
you can never get rid of it. Absolutely.
All right. Hi, Vern here. I just want to jump in real quickly and just give out some quick small shout outs to our wonderful Patreon members. Again, patreon.com/cinemarecallpod. In no special order, I want to thank Jeanette Miller over at Twitter at AKA Jeanette. Jeanette's one of our amazing voice actors for our upcoming Reservoir Dogs audio drama, so look forward to you hearing her on that. And I gotta thank Linda Castro from Bedknobs and Broomflits, also a wonderful voice actor for that as well. So thank you, Linda. And then I want to thank Jen McQuaid from Shot and Applaud. I miss you, Lydia and Naomi. Hope you all come back soon. Thank you, Jen. I want to thank Jason Soto from Rabbit Hole Podcast. Thank you very much, Jason, for being a supporter of us. Steve W., you don't have a website, but I thank you for your support. I want to thank Donnie Roberts over at the Deep Sea Anthologies. He writes for that, and he does work for Cage's Kiss. Thank you, Donnie. You're one of our big supporters. Love to have you back on. And then lastly, I want to thank Mashley at the Movies. I look forward to hearing your guys' thoughts on Speak to No Evil. So thank you very much, Mashley at the Movies. Thank you very much to all of our Patreon members. Love you very dearly.
But anyways, folks, that's it for our episode of Cinema Recall. Thank you all for listening, and I hope you all have a great week. And I will see you later. Bye.
La drogue me dit bibi, chouchou, je t'aime que pour le milli. Si mon nom c'est Dolly, nichon de roche, je suis trop girly. Goûte au poison, tous mes gris-gris, je te défonce même si t'es jolie. Mon cœur coco, c'est pas cochon, ça t'enfonce toujours dans mon lit. Les mecs et moi, ça fait zéro, chante plus pas égal, well love me. On veut pas faire du porno, mais on te pèse avec un god me. Si je dis langue, tu penses uni, quand je dis en tas, tu penses money. Je préfère la coque en 1000 grammes plutôt qu'un bisou de ton ami. Gagner des thunes petit, en la du cimetière, oh oui, le seigneur des ténèbres sur mon cœur, un tatouage sur souris. Danse devant moi, si la fille de Chuck ici, si je m'en fous du 69, je veux juste du 666.
This podcast is a proud member of the Lamb Podcasting Network. Find the network at largeassmovieblogs.com.